Wade Paquin with the Build Show Network. This week I'm on one of my historic renovation projects. This building is over 125 years old. It was original box at one point. It's had 6 additions put on over its lifetime. The amount of layers and different materials used here is truly fascinating. And today I'm going to try and assess when I think each of those 6 additions was put on the house and try and come up with a time period by assessing the materials used. So I believe this house was probably built late 1800s. I'm talking like 1895 to maybe as late as 1905, 1910. I think that because of the materials used, because of the foundation materials used, and just because of the history here in this part of the town, in this part of Rhode Island. I think I'm standing in the original structure, which was 21 feet wide, 26 feet deep, a simple little box with a gable roof. The original back corners were over there by the stair landing platform, and back here in the corner where that broom is leaning on that stud there. That was the original structure. I think the first renovation or addition that was put on was a shed dormer, probably in the 1940s, upstairs. So let's head up there and I'll tell you why I think it was the 1940s, maybe early 1950s. All right, guys, I'm up on the 2nd floor now where I think this was the first addition that was put on to this structure. And you can see behind me, off to my right, this material that's untreated and newer, and this old original material that's whitewashed. It's a process called lime washing. They didn't have paint back in around 1900. Lime washing, mixing lime and water, was a form of a cheap way to paint, essentially. This house did not have lath and plaster on the walls. The framing stayed exposed, so this is a cheap way to paint it. So if you haven't seen that episode, go check it out. But back to business here. You can see the old roof plane right here. Rafter, some nice thick 1 inch by variable width sheathing boards. And here's the butt end of an old top plate, and then your knee wall studs. This was all cut out to accommodate this shed dormer addition here in front of me. And you can see where they framed in and added this cheek wall. They filled this in, and back in here in this cavity, that 2-foot bump out where the original plane of this roof, probably about an 8 pitch here, comes down. You have 2 feet rather of roof out here, and then that was filled in to extend the gable elevation and that exterior wall elevation of this side of the house. Now, by looking at the material here, the studs, this is older growth lumber, tight grain, consistent size sheathing boards here, right? These are all probably 1x10 boards. This tells me this was probably in the 1940s. We've done a lot of renovation work in and around that time period, and to me this is consistent with the lumber that I've seen in and around the 1940s. So I think somewhere in the 1940s, this addition was put on. It accommodated some more space on the 1st floor, and it had the shed dormer put on over that addition here to accommodate some more space on the 2nd floor. And we see that, right? We can see where that was added on and chopped out. You can see it right here. Here's our old sheathing boards, again, our old stud wall here, and everything outside and above this was added on. So one thing I'd like to point out here before we move to another section of the house is that the nails are much different here on the shed dormer addition versus what was used on the original home. Now on the original home, it was all these iron cut nails, right? These were very popular through the 1800s, right up to early 1900. By 1910, 1915, these iron cut nails basically became obsolete, and with the production of wire nails completely dominated the market in and around 1915. So again, trying to assess and confirm my theory on time frame here, based on the wire nails used in this addition, it doesn't look like an early version of a wire nail to me. It looks a little later on. So again, I think we're back into that 1940s period. And as far as these cut nails on the original structure, based on this type of cut nail, it's telling me that this is very late 1800s, maybe turn of the century, right around 1900. So again, confirming that I think the structure was built give or take right around 1900.